Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? #Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. My name is Oluwadamilola Ibitoye and I am joined by my amazing co-host, Glory. Hi, Glory.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm fine. I mean, energy is sort of not
Low.
there. But I'm fine generally. It's been an amazing week. A lot to do as usual. Amazing. Like I was just telling you earlier, having so many people call you and sometimes like you don't. These days I feel like I use up my entire word for the day before the end of the day. So
Oh
before
my
the
God,
day
I
ends,
can
it's almost like
imagine.
I don't have anything else
Anything
to
else to
say.
say? Oh dear.
So
Oh
yeah,
dear.
it's just like that. So yeah, I'm happy to be here with
How are you?
you.
I know, right? How are you dealing with this whole economic situation of the country and this
Funny.
fuel scarcity
I
currently?
was speaking with someone yesterday and he was telling me like, the government or whatever is happening in Nigeria gets it to a point where you start seeing things that are supposed to be normal. When you see it happening, you're so excited. When it's just normal, like now there's no fuel. So it's like, oh,
When
everyone
you
is
get
struggling,
fuel,
so
you're so happy.
happy.
Oh my
When it's just
God.
normal.
No. Like sometimes I feel like Nigeria can make you something that you are not. I don't know how people are actually coping. I think the safest way is to desensitize from the entire happenings around us. But how many things you want to desensitize from? You're just a human being as well that is living in a human world. So you can't be desensitized from everything. But I know that somehow we're coping. Well, I'm fine. I had a good day, actually. My energy level is just low because of the current situation of the country, and I'm just tired. Like, why do somebody even run to like this? But yeah. I mean, I'm good, and I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're good too. Anyway, so here's what we found as today's quote. Your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. And that was said by Steve Forbes. Well, I agree very strongly with that quote because I believe that every business, whether big or small, should have a brand identity. There's no business without a brand identity because the truth is that what differentiates you from someone else that's probably in the same industry as yours is your brand identity. So one of the most important investments you can actually make for real is your brand identity. Because even as if you look at it from a human perspective, even as human beings, right? Everybody should have a brand. It's like when I hear something, I'm thinking of Glory. Or when I see something,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Glory. Like I like what some content creators are doing now. There's a particular phrase. There's some phrases that when you use, you can
Yeah.
attribute it to a particular person. Do you get what I'm saying? So I strongly believe in this quote. What do you think about the quotes?
And I totally agree with you. Like your brand, it's like your identity, what differentiates you with the next person. And even before we go to SMEs as part of our topic today, you as an individual, there is a certain quality that differentiates you from, that's your identity.
Absolutely.
That's what makes you unique and different
Absolutely.
from other people. So yeah, your brand is really something that differentiates you.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. We agree with that anyway. So yeah, in a market brimming with diversity and opportunity, establishing a strong brand identity is not just advantageous, it is essential. Tonight, we're diving deep into the strategies, challenges, and success stories that define the branding landscape for small and medium-sized enterprise in Nigeria. We'll be discussing the topic, brand insights for Nigerian SMEs, and when we open our phone lines, we would love to hear what you have to say. But first, let's take a break and see what we found in the news. All right, thank you for staying with us. You're watching Ways. So, Glory, what did you find for us in the news today? Okay, sorry, before we go ahead to say what we actually found in the news. Anyway, World Press Freedom Day, observed on May 3rd each year, is an important occasion that highlights the fundamental principles of press freedom, defends media independence, and pays tribute to journalists around the world who risk their life to report news. It serves as a reminder of the crucial roles that the press plays in promoting transparency, accountability, and democracy in societies. This day was proclaimed by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993, following a recommendation made during the 26th session of the UNESCO General Conference in 1991. It serves as an opportunity to assess the state of press freedom globally, raise awareness about the importance of free press, and address the challenges and threats faced by journalists in their pursuit for truth and information. You know, sometimes, before I came into the media world, I used to look at journalists sometimes, especially when there's maybe like war, there's a war or something. I used to see journalists carrying microphone. Okay, so what do you have to say about this? And I'm like, you guys are you not afraid for your life? You can die because there's literally a problem going on here. Do you get? So I think that it's really great that we have a day to celebrate these people, and journalists that go ahead to, you know, search for truth in every story and write their truth. There are so many journalists that probably have even been blacklisted. Some, they've just been maybe made outcasts or something because they brought the truth to, in fact, there's one person in Nigeria, I'll not mention his name, he cannot come to Nigeria again for the same reason. So it's really good that there's a day actually to celebrate the press freedom, because I think that the press should actually be given more freedom to tell the truth.
I also like the fact that I think well, I say to honor this day, there was sort of a conference that happened in one of the popular hotels in Lagos, still talking about how Nigerian press needs to evolve, or there is need for more freedom of speech and everything.
Absolutely.
And following that, I don't know if we talked about this, the video that trended yesterday about one of the popular news.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and those are some of the things like we see happening regularly, where, you know, somehow some of journalists and all are being suppressed, you know, they are not given that freedom, or they are being shut down, sometimes directly or indirectly. But I love the fact that she stood on business.
No, she really stood on business. She was very focused, like, I'm here to ask this question, and this question I shall ask.
And that's just it, because, you know, that's the role of the media. They have to, like, keep us informed and give us like genuine and authentic information. So I think with Nigeria we still have a lot of growing to do in terms of when it comes to press freedom and freedom of speech. Yeah,
absolutely, I agree with you. So what did you find for us in the news today?
Okay, it's a rather long read, but a summary of it is just the NLC, that's the Nigerian Labour Congress, advocating for an increase in minimum wage to about 600. I know it's a little like to me, it's little because we have to look at both sides, like what we have to afford it also get to mind. But the reason why I appreciate or I really like the fact that I appreciate it for is the fact that actually recognize the advantage and increase the cost of living, and also advocating for the fact that government workers need to be properly taken care of.
Absolutely.
So it reads that the Nigerian Labour Congress has defended its proposal. So they've initially had this proposal. They are now coming forth to defend it, insisting that the organized labor took into consideration all necessary indices before arriving at 615,000 naira as the new minimum wage, bearing in mind that the former one expired, I think, around the 18th of April. So there's an open room for conversation to talk about an increase also. So it says, it's further said, any figure below 615,000 would become what it described as a starvation wage, which will condemn Nigerian workers and their families to perpetual poverty. The explanation was contained in a statement titled 2024 National Minimum Wage Negotiation, how we arrived at the 615,000 naira, which was signed by the NLC president. In the statement, so it's a long read, but that's just the whole summary of it. But one takeaway from here is the fact that they are saying they're actually open for negotiation. So it's not like this is the final. Yes, this is just a proposal saying that this is what they think government workers need to earn, but they are open for negotiation. So yeah, that's what
I hope that really and truly this comes to light, because you could say it's a lot of money for one person to be earning, but then Nigeria can actually afford it. And truthfully, the standard of living in the country has significantly gone up. So I can't even imagine someone earning 30,000 naira per month as a government worker that probably even has family to cater for. God, I beg. God, but I mean, we are hoping, we're very hopeful that really and truly this actually comes to light. It comes to light, actually. Anyway, what I found for us in the news was, so I think it was a news from yesterday that's dragged into today. So there was a fire, there was a fight at, I think, Okoado area of Lagos. yeah, between the youth and some hoodlums. Now, so today, I think while trying to like ransack the place, then the police then found some, well, a drug den. So, you know, before the fight broke out or anything, it was probably somewhere that they used to just hide and do their things, you know. But then immediately, because, so now the fight was better from betting or no betting. The hoodlums and what's it called now? The hoodlums and the youth had a betting situation, and maybe from somebody's money was not paid or somebody's money was paid and all that, then the fight happened. Meanwhile, there's been report that they've actually reported that kind of incidents, because it's not the first time it's happening. Okay. That kind of incidents to the police, but nothing was particularly done, right? So, but then again, it had to happen this way before something was eventually done. Even when the police, they didn't even allow for police presence, because the hoodlums were trying to push the police people aside so that they don't come. Even when they set the market on fire, the water guys that came, they didn't even allow them coming. You know, because they were very bent on, we're going to, you know how these people, their fights are always quite somehow. Yeah, they just want to, they're not thinking rationally at that point. They just want to destroy everything. First of all, they had, you know, gotten some sharp objects. They have injured a lot of people, you know. They have, and the ripple effect of this is that a lot of people have lost their goods.
And just imagine the reason for the fight.
Absolutely something that could have probably been talked about, or it's just something very, very unreasonable. Now you have put some people that is their means of livelihood. You have put them in a state of Iggy Yaga, so to speak. So, you know, I mean, I really don't know. I think that if the police force had actually responded to these people at the first instance when they had complained about this, it would have been a lot better. It would have not gotten to this point, because the truth is that there are area boys everywhere. There are hoodlums everywhere, even on the island, anywhere they are. And they are always in their shanty and all that. So, you know, while the police came to ransack them, they just destroyed the entire, just like they did at, was it Jakonde some months back? They destroyed the entire shanty, and that was how they found the drug den. But then again, I am glad that they indeed found it, number one. I'm glad that at least now things like that will not at least occur in that area again.
You know, I like the fact, I think a lot of things are going on in Lagos positive. Like, I think also there is shanty houses, those houses under the bridge. So yeah, these are positive. I hope, like, you know, we find this positive progression. I see them as positive.
I also see them as positive progression, because when I saw the news about that house, and they are paying 250,000 naira per year.
For real?
That, and they were like 80, was it 86 or 82? And I'm like, no, come on. How are people even living under the bridge? Imagine you're sleeping and cars are passing over your head, and you're paying that amount. It's ridiculous. I mean, it just goes also to show the housing problems that we have in Lagos, to be fair. But yeah, let's go on a very quick break. When we come back, we'll dive straight into the conversation. Thank you.
Why don't you start from where that manufacturing is happening? If you need to set up, what's it called, processing plants that do not allow this, so it means that the farmers don't have to. They just take the raw, their goods, go and process it in a generalized plant that then eventually brings down the cost. So nobody is setting up their individual, what's it called, processing plants. There are countries that have done that. They produce massive processing infrastructure that says, okay, all the farmers, bring your produce. So at the end of the day, instead of you take it from them, then you are now, as a government, you're able to absorb it. So if you are now saying you want to put subsidy, those are the things you're supposed to be considering. To say, okay, you are subsidizing so that the man on the street can be able to afford food. Like, people are just like, I just want to go, you know, into the woods and shoot. It's my right to hunt. For me, these are the mindsets that are problematic. Because, again, and I'm sorry to keep using foreign references, but where the gun problems are real, you know, I believe we can all connect with those problems, right? The mother of one of the school shooters was just tried, and I believe she was convicted. And then a second parent, I didn't follow the story, but I think it's the father of the same shooter.
you know, is now being tried for the irresponsibility of having bought the child the gun and then not securing the gun and ignoring all the warning signs of mental health issues.
Absolutely, because the signs are there.
So we are getting to a point where I believe that the more these situations occur, the ludicrousness of associating fun with a weapon, right? Sad stories that we have discussed on this show before. There was a 3-year-old who shot I think it was a mother by accident. So we have to start to contextualize these things where it may be your right to bear arms, but certainly not for fun.
I'm sure most of us know that some of these manufacturing and production companies, most of them have shut down because of how expensive and how pricey everything is, and most of them have either gone to another African country.
Other countries, yeah.
Yes, other countries and all of that. So my point now is, we are saying we want to be an export-based country. How are we helping the business owners? How are we helping them, you know, run their business well? So I talked about people importing raw materials, agricultural farm produce. It will shock you that people are importing oranges, apple that you pluck at the back of your house. People are importing it. Whereas we can actually do all of that. But one of the issues, or some of the issues, are farmland grabbing issues.
Fertilizers.
Members of our House of Assembly or the National Assembly, who you have said are supposedly our representatives, who are supposed to be representing our interests, making laws that will be executed by the executive, these same people who you are saying that need to help us are people who have been helping themselves in the past. These are people who have only made laws that only hold us accountable and not necessarily them. Again, in the recent past, we've seen them fight for cars and monies and sitting allowances that are much more higher than the amount of money that a university professor takes home as his pay. And most of these professors still haven't received their pay. Who's to say that these same people that you're talking about accountability on their past will cut off their nose to spite their face?
All right, thank you for staying with us. You're still watching Ways. All right, we are shining a spotlight on Nigerian SMEs and their journey to branding success, from the bustling streets of Lagos to the vibrant markets of Abuja. SMEs across Nigeria are navigating a complex landscape where standing out is the key to survival. Tonight, we are discussing branding insights for Nigerian SMEs with our guest, Olawale Adegoke. Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. I'll take that again, 081-8038-4663. Our guest, Olawale Adegoke, is the CEO of Nimbus Media Limited, a pioneering Nigerian destination out-of-home advertising company. With a Nigeria-wide network of digital out-of-home advertising channels, Nimbus Media provides clients and brand solutions to increase their reach, exposure, and engagement. Described as a modern-day Renaissance man, Wale Adegoke has over a decade of experience in media, advertising technology, business, and sports. He is motivated by a desire to cultivate a personal and professional shared knowledge based focused on producing value to improve the quality of life of his community. Hi, Adewale. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you.
It's good to have you on the show.
Olawale.
Olawale. Oh, apologies for mispronouncing your name. Hi, Olawale. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
It's really good to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, so diving straight into the conversation, right? As a CEO of an advertising company, what are some of the common brand mistakes you see in Nigeria SMEs? You know, and how do you think that they can avoid them?
Well, for an SME, I think mistakes are part of
Oh, well.
the journey, right? So when we say common brand mistakes, I don't want people to feel discouraged. Everything you do is an opportunity for you to learn. So if you're running a business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. That's just how it is. You need to make sales, right? That's what it's all about. So making sales is what the entrepreneur, the CEO, this is what they're thinking about morning, noon, and night. I want to make sales. Of course, there are other aspects of the business. Sometimes, if your business is so simple, like a shoemaker, for example, it's that simple. So there's a lot of process into being a shoemaker, right? So with the resources you have right now, your phone, your Instagram, your Facebook, as a shoemaker, you can kind of, show the process of making your shoes. And along the way, as you keep showing them the process of making your shoes, how you make the shoes, the designs, to the craftsmanship, you're telling a story. You get better at it.
Yeah.
So that process of trying to put your stuff out there, you can put your stuff out there with videos. You can put your stuff out there with pictures. Yeah, so that's really the democratized avenue that technology has given for businesses to be able to showcase themselves. There are other more intricate traditional media, PR, and all those things. But I think the basics for an SME is to be able to tell your story and show the process of what it is that you're bringing out that product that you need to push out and make sales. So the question of mistakes, in doing that, you're going to make mistakes, and then you learn from them and you get better.
Okay. I really like when Dami was going through your profile. I like the fact that part of what you're good at is sharing knowledge. So just look at me like a novice, because if you look at most Nigerian SMEs, it's almost like they're everywhere. You can't really differentiate them. If you look at the prominent businesses, like take for example, brands like Tesla, all those, once you see, you know what they stand for. So just educate us. When we talk about branding, what is that all about? What does it entail?
Okay, interesting the example you used. I love the example because we can play with it. It's not really, it's present in our market, but then kind of far, right?
Yeah.
So Tesla doesn't actually spend money on advertising. So the number one brand ambassador for Tesla is, you know his name, right? I don't even need to tell you his name. He is the founder of the company, well, he's the CEO of the company. He's the chairman of the company. He's the number one person. So much so that he had to go and buy a social media network to be in charge of a social media network, so he could go ahead and talk about all his businesses and all the things. He controlled the narrative, basically. So, and I think that's the key thing, controlling the narrative. Of course, people are going to talk. They're going to talk about your product. They're going to talk about your service. They're going to talk about the brand you've created. So what is a brand? You know, a brand is actually not a thing that you can hold like this cup. It's an impression in the minds of people. So you want to project an impression into the minds of people and then sustain it so that it will make those people make actions which will translate into sales for you and an increase in the value of your brand, which is an intangible asset for your business. And then as a human being, you also have a brand. So you see that the brand Elon Musk is behind the brand Tesla and other brands. So you as a small business owner, you know, what's your brand? You know, so we can start from there. Of course, you're doing a business, you have a vision and a mission for the business. You have a goal for the business. You want to achieve things with the business. So by articulating those things, convince yourself and then the people around you. I think that's the building blocks. That's the starting place. when we can settle on that, then we can move forward with the brand building exercise. It's a constant. Louis Vuitton, they are still building their brand.
Fairs.
Okay, so because I hear what you say, so now I'll give an example. When I wanted to start my small business, a couple of questions that came to mind. Okay, what color do I will my business stand for? Which color do I want as the color? I don't know how to put it.
Yeah.
Like my business color, all of that. So how do we? So just walk us through the point where you're just a small business. What are the little things you need to start putting in place when it comes to building your brand identity?
Yeah, you want to give them a full master class, right? Okay, so I think we can approach it in two ways.
Okay.
There's the emotional way,
Okay.
and then there's the logical way. So, emotional first. What do you like? You know, what's that fantasy, you know, for you? And then logical, like, the people I'm trying to sell to, I want them to buy my stuff. What do they like? So that's logical, scientific. That's where survey, focus groups, forms, polls, data collection, data analysis, then you make it. But all your data collection and everything, you know, my pastor will just come now and tell me, the Lord said, and then that will be, and then that business will go really far, right? So who's to say? But you have to be true to yourself. And of course, if you are seeing results, then you know. So if you took the data and everything and it's giving you results, or if you went with your spirit and it's giving you results, that's where the place of you are. Of course, I think one-man business is good, but I think when you get to some level, you need to also have other stakeholders in your business, and then these people can also give you feedback, right? So I think that's the plan.
Okay, so Nigeria is a culturally rich country. We have different cultures, diverse people and all that. So how do you think that SMEs can actually communicate their brand messages to different people across different cultures and demographic?
Yeah, it's tough to reach everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So the truth is, you can't reach everybody. So, but you can find your customer, your own customer. So you need to know your customer. One of my mentors, it's always like, are you talking to your customers? You need to be talking to your customers. Any problem you're having, you're probably not talking to your customers enough. That's what that mentor of mine. So if I bring any problem to him, at the end of the day, we'll get down to it, and I'm probably not talking to my customers enough. So by talking to your customers, you actually know who your customers are, and then I think you'll be able to craft your message. So then you know you need to put a little bit of broken English in there. If your customers are those people, that's how you reach them. If your customers are Yoruba, they want to hear. It's Yoruba they can hear. And then you're speaking, you have the most polished everything, you spent money on it all, but these guys are not going to get it. So back to as sophisticated a brand as even, you know, the likes of Nike and Coca-Cola, like, are they for everybody? So they have their target audience. So I think you need to carve out your target audience, and that's part of the things you should spend time thinking about as a brand owner.
I think I agree with that, because the truth is that your product is really not for everyone. Even your service is really not for everyone. Just find your target audience, stick to them, and flourish.
Even you, are you for everyone?
I mean, no.
Right.
Anyway, so we know that considering that they are small businesses, medium-sized businesses, sometimes finance might be a limitation, right, in trying to get your brand to even the places that it needs to get to the eyes of the people it needs to get to. So how do you think that small businesses with limitation on finance can actually maximize branding to give them the ROI that is actually required for the business?
cash is a problem for everybody.
Yeah.
How do we solve it? How do
not
we,
just
with
you.
the little we have, so how do we work around it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm not a banker, right? So they are the ones with the money. They are the ones that are dishing out the money, right? But we have things we use the money for in a business.
Yeah.
Use the money to pay salaries. You need to use the money to buy equipment or raw materials. Use the money for transport, to distribute,
even run the entire
buy
business.
your packaging, keep the lights on.
Yeah.
You know, so you need the money for those things. And then the whole idea is that whatever you're charging your customer is a premium on the cumulative costs that you are, you know, putting into the business over X time and all that. So if you want to access financing, you need to show some level of understanding of this, what I just explained now, which is like the inputs, the output of the business, which is what you're selling to your customer, must be of a higher value than all the inputs that you came in with. And with that in mind, you can think about all the places that people get funding from. Debt, that's from the bank. You can have investors that will invest in your business. From the small scale investors to the large scale investors. You even have people that will even give you money, literally, so grants and stuff. My company has a grant we run for women-led businesses where we help them by giving them access to out-of-home advertising inventory. So we gave, last year we gave 20 businesses 2 million naira each worth of out-of-home advertising inventory, which we're going to deploy for them over a period of time. So that's a grant from my company. So there are so many opportunities like that, different grants. That grant is for media. There are some grants they'll give you cash. There are some grants is training, which is very critical because even packaging everything in your business, right? All these things I've been saying is like as a result of years of training, years of doing something. So if somebody's going to spend their time to train you, you might have had to pay them. In fact, you probably would have to pay them, but then they can give you free training. So there are a lot of, but for you to access these things, your tentacles must be on the ground. You must really like be about it, about your business and researching, talking to people, going out there. There are opportunities.
Okay, so I hear you, but then now, are you saying that I need to have all of this money, whether from investors, from grants, from wherever it is I can get money from, really, before I'm able to successfully brand my business? Because
but before I put it out there, I need to have work on my branding. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, how do I then actually work on this branding enough to get me the ROI to even build the business with the minimum business capital
Some of us trying to like have baby businesses, like making us, we're not having faith that we're going to brand.
No.
Just give us little, where can we
something we can do with the little that we have in terms of branding.
So you can always do something.
I mean, must we look at 2 million looking at getting a brand to me? So you're just saying there's nothing of like 500K we can start with,
I mean,
or even less.
So there's a software called Canva. It's a website. You can design your own logo on Canva for free, right? So all you need is a computer. I'm sorry I can't give you the computer.
Well,
I'm sure you have your own. Or you'll find. So, you use that. You do a logo. I'm just trying to go into the DIY aspect because you can actually do a lot of things by yourself. And even if you can't do it by yourself or you don't have the money, you can use some soft power and influence to influence other people to do it for you. Like if you have a friend that can do designs, they can do a design for you. That's with designs. With your products that you're trying to sell, I think the quality of your product really matters.
Yeah.
So do you want to, how much would you spend on making your product? It depends on what your product. If it's a soap, you know, a soap can be something somebody will just wash and leave, or it can be an experience, a luxurious experience. So that's where the branding comes in. Branding, storytelling.
Okay.
Storytelling.
Okay.
I like
The storytelling. The story, yeah, that really works. Okay, before we progress in this conversation, we'll go on a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Please stay tuned. Thank you for staying with us. And if you're just tuned in, we are discussing branding insights for Nigerian SMEs. Please let's hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-8038-4663. I take that again, 081-8038-4663. Our phone lines are now open. You can call us on 070-2500-7749. I'll take it again, 070-2500-7749. Now, before we went on a break, Glory, you had a question to ask our guests.
Yes. I like how everything is progressing, especially the storytelling part. Number one, because like it does not involve so much money. Well, so I want to know, can your brand story change over time? Or like it's like if this is your brand story, then you have to just follow through with it. Do you think there's a point where your brand story can change? Maybe you started with, okay, it's quality, you're preaching quality at the point it's like more of, how am I going to put it? Emphasis on durability and all of that. So do you think like your brand story can change over time?
Yeah, sure. Your brand story can change, but I think there are some core values that your brand should stand for consistently, even as a personal brand. When a brand is growing and it's evolving, you know, it could go in different ways. For example, Lego. Lego is a toy. It's a children's toy. But then now Lego they do movies. You know, there's Batman Lego, Star Wars Lego. You know, they do TV series. Lego now has a theme park, Legoland. You know, so the way they are touching people is evolving. The way they are telling their story is evolving. And the story of a 5-year-old and the story of a 25-year-old are quite different. So there's no way you're going to escape evolution. It just keeps changing. So you should take comfort in that. Some of the mistakes, as I started out with when you said mistakes, you know, I don't want us to see mistakes as this thing that makes us afraid. We are going to make mistakes, you know, but then it becomes part of the story. Then you can build on that. Of course, that's if you are wise enough not to make the same mistakes. Yeah.
Nimbus Media. So let's go to Dami. I know you want to call me, but just so let me satisfy myself with.
Go ahead.
So I'm just going through. You have out of home advertising. So I want to ask, what role has advertising got to do with building a strong brand?
Oh. So advertising is a paid message. So if this is a philosophical question I want to push back to you. I hope you don't mind.
Bring it on.
Advertising is a paid exposure, right? So if I have an Instagram ad and my friend has a business, and on my Instagram page, I post my friend's business. Is that advertising?
Technically.
She said no. You're saying?
I think technically, yes.
Well, technically it's advertising, but when we have to like marry it with branding, it's not really, because it's not your message. You're doing it on behalf of someone.
But it's advertising either ways. You're advertising for the person because it's reaching a wider audience that way.
You're advertising. You're advertising that person's business. But the person, maybe the person did not pay you cash. So it was a favor, right?
Yeah.
That was why you posted it. So somehow, some value have exchanged hands, and you have given this guy visibility in the audience. So if you have a brand message, advertising just serves to amplify it or direct it towards, strategic audience through strategic mediums. There are different mediums. This platform is a medium.
Yeah.
This is an audiovisual medium.
Yeah.
But then there are audio-only medium.
Yes.
Then there are visual-only
Mediums,
mediums.
yeah.
So how do you want to mix it? And now we have a mixed reality, virtual reality, augmented reality. So these are new media.
Yeah.
Nimbus is an expert at out-of-home media. And that's why we gave exposure at shopping malls, billboards, digital screens, things like that. Anybody that has a brand would want to project their message to their audience, but they have to decide which media or medium they're going to use. And I think that's to answer your question. For Elon Musk, he did not use. He's using his own medium.
Yeah.
He said to acquire the entire, rather than going through him.
Exactly.
To buy it all.
No. So yeah, thank you. I know that right now we're in a very digital age. Technology is taking over almost everything, really. And you already said it before that with the use of a mobile phone, literally, you can create a brand, you can put it out there, and all that. So, but then again, what emerging trend do you think that Nigerian SMEs are supposed to be aware of that can actually make them ahead of their branding efforts? They're not just doing the same thing that everybody is doing. Maybe everybody is putting things on the billboard, for instance. They're not just doing the same. So, what trends you think that they can, inculcate to actually stay ahead in their branding efforts?
Yeah, so the word trend, if you say something is a trend, that means everybody is doing it, right?
Well.
So there are different kinds of people. They are, in terms of when it comes to innovation, they are the people that are like at the edge of innovation.
Yeah.
That they are like, they are the innovators. They are the ones innovating. Then after them, there are people, they call them early adopters. So they are not the innovators per se, but they are adopting things earlier than the rest of the population. And then it goes like that all along the population until the people that they won't adopt it even when it's everywhere. So just like social media,
Yeah.
there are some people that, I don't use social media like 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
Now they use. Some people still don't use till
True.
now. Maybe
True.
in the next 5 to 10 years they'll use social media. So social media itself is a trend, and it's a very powerful tool that can cut out a lot of cost for you. You can actually make good use of it. But then there's really nothing like actually having relationships with the media and going out and networking. So putting yourself out there. So it doesn't, having technology doesn't change the will. If you want to be successful, you need to put yourself out there. Now, either you're putting yourself out there in physical form or your work. You put your work out there. It's not always going to be easy. Some places you will go to that they will not give you the access you want. So you have to plan around that. I think AI can help you to be consistent with social media.
Yeah.
While you have to put less, if your strength is in social media, then you can put less attention on that and focus on where your strength is not, and maybe putting more effort into exposing yourself more to people, going out there, entering into the market, networking, and things like that to make sales. So when you say trends, I just have to just come back to talking to your customer and be about your business for real.
For real.
Yeah.
Stand on business, literally. So a very quick question. I think Glory mentioned it earlier. If it's okay to change the strategy of your business, I mean, the branding of your business, something along the lines of that. So now, because I know that most times when people start a small business, it's majorly try and error. You know, they're like, not the truth is that there are not a lot of businesses that thoughts are being put into it consciously before it eventually kicks off. Some is just like, okay, I have this idea, let's explore it, let's see how far it can go. Fortunately, some people eventually take it really big and it becomes well. For some, it dies along the way. So now, in terms of branding, if per adventure I start off a business now, and to me, I think that this is what my brand identity should look like. But progressing in life, I then realized that this thing can be a better way. So do you think it's safe? So I'm using the word on purpose now, safe. Do you think it's safe for your business to actually like totally rebrand? Not even maybe changing a few things, like just totally change the face of the brand.
Just to add to what she's asking, if you look at, this is not really about, well, I can still classify as SME, but this like, maybe let's go to entertainment, find some artists that rebranded and changing so many things, and they came out stronger. You know, I'll also give an example. Even there's some eateries that I felt like over time rebranded. So is it a good thing, just to add to what she's saying, to like be courageous enough to say, okay, let's just change the entire face? So some people, like maybe their business is dying and they feel like, okay, we just need to turn the whole thing around. So do you think like businesses at some point should be able to risk it to take those sort of steps?
Okay, so for me, short answer, why not? Short answer. Long answer, if you are making money, everything is going well, everybody loves you, why are you changing anything?
So the reason for a change anyway is most likely because things are not going so well. Well, in very rare cases, people change because they want to upscale or want to make a lot more money or reach a wider audience or reach a different demography in some cases. But in cases where it's not doing well, do you think it's safe?
If it's not doing well, you better...
It's better to...
Yeah, you do something, right? You do something different. If you've been doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working, then you do something different or you try something different. So rebranding a business, are you changing the name of the business?
Sometimes, yes.
Or are you just changing the colors or some look and feel? Or it could be you are even going to a completely different line of business. Like you were selling motor vehicle before, now you want to sell refrigerator.
I mean,
You understand?
Completely different.
but don't you think, do you think rather it's going to maybe affect your customer? Because first, how do you, because, okay, I'm not going to mention the name of the company, but because I have interviewed them before, and they were formerly called a particular name, still in the same business. They didn't change their business or even a strategy or anything, but they just needed to change their name because the name they were bearing before did not pass the actual message that it needed to pass for them as a brand, right? So they had to change the entire name. So, you know, when I asked them a question about how did you then transition, you know, your customers, because imagine I was a customer from way back and I'm searching this company name and I can't find it on Instagram, I can't find it on anywhere. And then, so how, like, don't you think it's going to affect, you know, transitioning the customers? Like, how do you think?
So for me, I think it's kind of weird so if a business can have a business name, but they can have products and their products are trading as a different name from their business name.
Oh, see.
So for me, it's kind of weird for a business to just change their name without any external influence. Like maybe somebody bought into the business, there was a merger on the business, or the business wound down and start another business, you know. So it's a bit of a red flag, right? For I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Remember going back to talking to your customers. So if I'm really doing business and I'm talking to my customers for real, there will be that feedback that, yo, why are you changing your name? What's going on? Is everything okay? So it's either there are no customers to talking to, or something went wrong.
Yeah.
For a business to change their name, something went wrong, or some external force came in, either bankruptcy or somebody brought money, and the person with the money said, I don't like this name.
Yeah, I want to change
I want
the
to
name.
change the name. You understand? The product might not necessarily have their name changed. There are many popular products we use today that have hand from company to company. That the company that started the product is no longer the company that is currently selling that product in the market right now. So it's a dynamic thing, and this is the place of, you know, one of my business mentors, Sir Richard Branson, you know, he's an adventurer. When I say business mentor, I've never met him, right? So I have so many business mentors in the realm of thought. He's an adventurer, and he has had to wind down some of his businesses. Not all his business ventures were successful. You just hear about the successful one. Even the popular Nigerian entrepreneurs, not all their businesses are successful.
True.
So it's going to be, you're going to take some knocks. If you want to be in the battlefield, but you don't want anybody to touch you, you want to be playing ball, nobody should come and slide you. You know, it doesn't work that way.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Olawale, do you have any final words for us? Because we're wrapping up the show already. It's been a very interesting conversation, I must confess. I mean, I've picked up a lot of nuggets. I'm sure Glory has as well.
Definitely.
Because she's been really enjoying this conversation. But before we go, do you have any final words for the audience? What you'd like them to know about branding and brand identity?
Yeah. So I would say I had fun having fun with you guys too.
Thank you.
Great time, great energy. I will collect my lesson fee.
Right.
But
And you will dash us some money. That 2 million naira grant, you will give us, so we act our own small business. We don't have up to that to brand, so we
apply
need to do
next
that.
time.
Okay.
Apply next time.
Okay.
When it comes out, I'll push it to
We
you
want to
guys.
further rebrand the show.
wahala.
Take it to new heights. So.
Yeah, but for the people watching, I would just say you need to cultivate. If you are a business person, I think these two ladies, they are business people from the vibes I'm getting. But if you are a business person, you want to invest in your personal brand as a person to push your business. You know, you need to have some fuel in your own personal brand so that you can push your business, you know, and especially that makes it much cheaper for you. Because if you don't have any fuel in your personal brand, you have to spend a lot of money to push your business. So build your own personal brand. Take that time. It's a journey. Just
Yeah.
start now, start building.
Wow, amazing.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Olawale. Thank you. So, but we have to round up the show right now. So before we go, rather, do ensure you follow us on Instagram at Way Show Africa and Official Upgrade TV. You can interact with us further, drop a comment. Most importantly, follow all our social media engagements, and remember to like, share, comment, invite your family and friends to watch us and follow us. If you missed today's quote, here it is again. Your brand is the single most important investment you can make in your business. And this was said by Steve Forbes. Till next time, see you on Monday as we bring another great conversation your way. Bye-bye.